Hey, I'm Mark. I'm a history teacher and I'm gone rogue. I'm also the author of the new released The Harlot Princess by M. Timothy Haggard. Available now in either ebook or paperback form on Amazon Bookstore. In the story, Rahab, a prostitute in Jericho, harbors two Israelite spies before the destruction of the city. According to the biblical text, she married a man from the Israelite tribe of Judah named Salmon and became part of the lineage of David and the lineage of Jesus. Read The Harlot Princess by M. Timothy Haggard and see how it might have happened. We know by history that the Israelites had created an empire in the Middle East by the mid-900s BC. Numerous sources outside of the Bible recognize that there was a kingdom of Israel under King David and under Solomon. How did the Israelites establish a presence in what was originally the land of the Canaanites? The barrier standing between the Israelites and the Promised Land was the Jordan River. Could the Israelites have simply crossed the Jordan River in the conventional way, across the fords where the water ran calm and slow northeast of Jericho? Could they have settled in the uninhabited parts of the Promised Land and slowly extended their power from there until they were dominant? Perhaps. But where's the fun in that? Oftentimes, a group will create stories in order to justify their power. Sort of like the first time North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il played golf. He made 6 holes in 1 and gave up the game, saying it was too easy. Were stories like God stopping the flow of the Jordan River written into the Israelite record to lend credence to their rule? It is not likely that the Israelites simply extended their power by osmosis. How could they? The Israelites were recently emancipated from 400 years of slavery in Egypt, then wandered in the desert for another 40 years. The people of Canaan were well established. They lived in walled cities and crafted iron weapons. The Hittites used iron chariots. How is a group fighting with improvised weapons made of sticks and rocks going to be able to breach walled cities and defeat iron weapons? And yet somehow, they did. So, the Jordan River posed a significant barrier to the Israelites. From their encampment at Shittim, I can say that because it's in the Bible. There was a place to ford the river a number of miles to the north. But that would take the Israelites, numbering 400,000 men, women, and children, a week or so to move there, across, and regroup. Joshua didn't want to lose time by moving north. God told him to cross the Jordan at Shittim, opposite Jericho. Here, the river was more than 100 feet across and more than 10 feet deep. Yet, according to the book of Joshua, as soon as the feet of the priests who were carrying the ark touched the water at the river's edge, the water above that point began backing up a great distance away at a town called Adam. Could the flow of the Jordan River have been stopped? In terms of geography, geology? Geography. The Jordan River is the low part of the geological rift in Southwest Asia. A rift valley is created by 2 tectonic plates moving in opposite directions away from each other. These create very deep valleys. The Dead Sea, in which the Jordan River terminates, is the lowest place on Earth at 1,400 feet below sea level. The Jordan Rift extends down through the Red Sea and into East Africa, forming the East African Great Lakes, Lake Victoria, Lake Malawi, and Lake Tanganyika. These geological rifts are fraught with seismic activity, earthquakes, as these tectonic plates pull away from each other. Once in a while, earthquakes in the Jordan River Valley cause landslides, big enough to drop earth into the river and dam the flow. 6 instances of landslides blocking the flow of the Jordan River are documented in the years 1160, 1267, 1534, 1834, 1906, and 1927. According to Scottish archaeologist Kenneth A. Kitchen, this phenomenon directly reflects known reality and is not fantasy. Some 16 miles north of a crossing opposite Jericho, Adam is present-day Tel Ed Damia. It is specifically in this district that the high banks of the Jordan have been liable to periodic collapses, sufficient to block the river for a time. Thus, in December of AD 1267, A high mound by the river collapsed into it, stopping its flow completely for 16 hours. An earthquake in 1927 in the area, thought to be where Joshua led the Israelites across the Jordan, caused a landslide that dammed the flow of the river for 21 hours. According to Abba Niv, regional engineer at the Israeli Soil Conservation Service, a cliff some 100 feet high slid into the river and closed the stream bed for several hours. A herd of cattle that grazed on one bank crossed the river to feed on the other side. Some 5 to 6 hours later, the rising water above the slide cut through the temporary dam, and within 24 hours, all was normal. So the Israelites arrive. We believe in 1406 BC. At the same time that one of these seismic events occurs with a landslide into the Jordan River, cutting off its flow for a full day, while 400,000 men, women, and children cross on dry land. Did the hand of God come down and stop the flow of the Jordan River? Well, the fact that the Israelites showed up at the exact same time as one of these once in a couple of centuries events occurred, that itself would be miraculous. There's a second element of the story that suggests God's handiwork in the Jordan River crossing. After the nation had passed, the Israelites were ordered to build a monument so that future generations could remember what God had done. 12 stones were brought to the place where the miracle occurred and arranged a memorial. We think of the stones maybe stacked up on each other or built as an altar. The custom in the Middle East at the time was simply placing the stones in 2 rows, like this altar at Har Hakam in southern Israel. But after 3,500 years, it is safe to say that the memorial's been beaten down by weather and erosion and human activity. It's hidden, now nearly impossible to find. But we do have a small piece of evidence to show that the Israelite altar did exist. It is called the Medeba Mosaic Map, a 6th century map of the Holy Land. Near the location of Jericho on the map, there's a reference to Gilgal and the 12 stones, with a picture next to the label of 12 stones in the form of parallel lines of 6. Why would the 6th century Byzantines care about the Israelites' 12 stones to note them on a map of the Holy Land? Because they were there as a memorial to future generations. What do you think? Maybe you're thinking, cool story, bro, whatever, get back to football. Well, if that's the case, thanks for letting me take 5 minutes of your time. But if you're a person of faith, maybe this encourages your faith. Let me know in the comments below. Whatever the case, thanks for coming by. Hey, check out The Harlot Princess by M. Timothy Haggard, The Story of Jericho, in ebook or in paperback at Amazon Bookstore. I'm Mark Haggard. I'm a history teacher, and I've gone rogue.